Good morning, students. Welcome back to your economics class, where we are discussing the important questions from exam point of view, right? So in our previous classes, we have discussed with, like in yesterday's class, we have discussed with causes for inequalities. That means how do you reduce inequalities? One LAQ we have completed. Then concept of poverty. What is poverty? What are the concept means what are the different types of poverty we are having in the country, and what are the causes for poverty we have seen. Okay, so these two questions, like causes for poverty and how do you reduce income inequalities, those are important from exam point of view for LAQs. Today we are going to study with the concept of unemployment. This unemployment, compulsory you will get one 5 marks question. Compulsory you'll get one 5 marks question for exam here, right? So today we are going to discuss with the concept of unemployment. In this, first, what do you mean by unemployment? Generally, today we are going to discuss completely about unemployment. What is unemployment? What are the types of unemployment? What are the causes for unemployment? What measures government has taken to reduce this unemployment problem? So these are all we are going to discuss in today's class. Okay, so first let us start with the basic concept of unemployment. Unemployment means what? People are not having any job opportunities, though they are willing to work, but they could not find any job. That situation is called as unemployment. So just see the meaning of unemployment here. When people are unable to find job opportunities, they are unable to find the job opportunities, though they are willing to work at the existing wage rate. This concept is called unemployment. What is unemployment? People are unable to find job opportunities. They don't get any job opportunities. They don't get any job, though they are willing to work. They are ready to work at the existing wage rate. Whatever may be the wages, they are ready to work. Still, they do not find any job opportunities. Such situation is called unemployment. Okay, so in developing, as India is a developing economy, we find the problem of unemployment when we discussed our first question, features of developing economies. We have seen in that where unemployment exists in India. Still, unemployment is a serious problem, which is a hurdle for our development. So now let us discuss what are the different types of unemployment we are having and what are the causes for unemployment. So first, let us discuss with the types of unemployment. Very easy and important question, this one. Types of unemployment. For 5 marks it will come. Okay, so the first type of unemployment is structural unemployment. Structural unemployment means what? Structural unemployment means depends on the economic structure of the country. Economic structure means what? Demand and supply of labor. Structural, to make it simple, I'm just giving you one hint here. Structural means what? When supply of labor is more, but demand for labor is less. That moment, most of the people will be unemployed in the country. See, demand for labor is very less. In the country, we don't want labor, but supply of labor is more, right? That situation is called as structural unemployment. Okay, simple concept you have to remember. Then, second type of unemployment is underemployment. Underemployment. Underemployment means what? Their efficiency and capability is not utilized to the full extent. Though we have labor, but we are not utilizing them to the full efficient level. Okay, so here we can say labor skills are not utilized to full capacity. Labor skills and efficiency is not utilized to the full capacity. What we are doing? We are wasting the skills of the labor. Though we have efficient labor, but we are unable to utilize him. That means we are wasting our labor over here. That type of unemployment, that is also called as unemployment. That situation is called as underemployment. Under. Skills are underutilized. Okay, so that is underemployment. Then next one we have open unemployment. Open unemployment. Open unemployment means what? When people are living without work, they don't find any job opportunities and they did not find any work. That is called as open unemployment. Okay, so when labor live without or do not find any work, this is called as open unemployment. See, what is open unemployment? When the labor are living without any work, they don't have any work to do, they do not find any work to do. That situation is called as open unemployment. Means openly we can see that they are sitting idle, they are not doing any work, they don't have any work to do. That situation is called as open unemployment. Then next type of unemployment we have educated unemployment. Educated unemployment. What is this educated unemployment? Though people are educated, they do not find the job according to their qualification. Okay, now a person is a postgraduate, but he is teaching for a nursery class or he is working as a servant or a clerk. Means according to his qualification, he may not find the job. That is called as educated unemployment. So educated unemployment means here when the person is educated, trained, but he is unable to find the job. Here we can say educated unemployment means though the person is educated, he will do not find any job. This situation is called as educated unemployment. Okay, then next unemployment we have, that is frictional unemployment. Frictional unemployment means what? It is a temporary unemployment. Temporary unemployment. This will not happen for a long period. Temporary unemployment when a person, when a labor is shifting, transferring from one occupation to another occupation. It is a temporary unemployment when labor transfers from one occupation to another. This is called as frictional unemployment. So just see what is frictional unemployment over here. Frictional unemployment is, it is a temporary unemployment. Now here we can see in the country, people will be moving from agriculture to industrial sector, right? When they come from villages or when they move from one area to another area, immediately they may not find the job. But to find a job, it may take some time. That is why we call it as a temporary unemployment. So temporary unemployment, why we say? Because when labor transfers from one occupation to another occupation. Okay, so that is called as frictional unemployment. Another type of unemployment is seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment. Mostly we find the seasonal unemployment in case of our agriculture. In our agriculture sector, what? During the season only, farmers will have work. Unseason, they do not have any work. Mostly this seasonal unemployment means in season, people will be unemployed. When off season or unseason is there, people will be unemployed. Okay, so that situation is called as seasonal unemployed. They won't get the jobs throughout the year. They get the job only in the season. Here, labor gets job only in season. Example, agriculture. Like throughout the year, they can't find the employment. Only whenever the rains are there or only whenever the harvesting is done, during that time only, they can find the employment. Remaining time, they will be unemployed. Such type of unemployment is called seasonal unemployment. The next one we have cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment depends upon the business cycle. Business cycle is what? We have inflation to recession. Cyclical changes will be there in the business. Inflation, when business is in growth or inflation stage, they create employment. When business is in recession stage or losses, they create unemployment. When business is in growth, they want more labor. But when business is in losses, they will remove the employees. So that way, the employment depends upon the business activities. That is called as cyclical unemployment. The next one we have technological unemployment. Technological unemployment means what? Unemployment will happen due to change in technology. Technological changes. Technological changes, mostly in software sector, we can find this type of technological changes. As in the software, when a new programming is come, the people who don't know that programming, they lose the jobs. As the technology changes, unemployment is arised. Okay, then next one, non-employment. Non-employment is what? People who are working in unorganized sector. So, labor who are employed in unorganized sectors. So, these are called as non-employment. They are not coming under employment, but still they are working. Okay, but they are working under non-organized sector, like in the house servants will be working. We don't call them as employment. Okay, so that situation is called non-employment. People who are working in their household activities or in an unorganized sector. So we can say in developing countries, we find this non-employment, technological employment, seasonal employment we can find in developing countries, frictional employment, educational. So these are all employments we can find mostly in developing economies. Okay, in developing economies, as there is a problem of unemployment, we find that unemployment problem, right? The different types of unemployment we find in our country. Now, last and final one we have, that is disguised unemployment. What is disguised unemployment? Disguised unemployment means more people are working. More people are working than required. More people are working than required means to complete one work, we require only 2 people, but 4 people are working in that. So in that case, we call that situation as disguised unemployment. So his marginal productivity will be 0. Just remember that point here. In this case, okay, so in this case, marginal productivity of labor, marginal productivity of labor is 0. Marginal productivity of labor is 0 means what here? Though he is removed from the job also, it will not have an impact on our production. That is called as disguised unemployment. So remember here, this disguised unemployment is important for your 2 marks. Frictional unemployment is important for your 2 marks. Okay, so total types of unemployment is a 5 marks question. In that, again, one type they may ask it for 2 marks. So what are the different types of unemployment we are having here? Structural unemployment. Structural unemployment means what? Depends on the economic structure of the country. Supply for labor is more, whereas demand for labor is less. This creates unemployment in the country. Underemployment, where labor skills and efficiency are not utilized to the full capacity. Open unemployment, where labor live without work or they do not find any work in the country. Such unemployment is called open unemployment. Next, educated unemployment. What is educated unemployment? People are educated, though they are trained, skilled and educated, they do not find any job. Frictional unemployment, it is a temporary unemployment where when labor transfers from one occupation to another, then during that time, temporary unemployment will be created. Seasonal unemployment, seasonal, depending upon the season. As the season changes, unemployment arises. Okay, mostly we can find that in agriculture. Cyclical unemployment, unemployment depends upon the business cyclical fluctuations. When there is an inflation, more employment will be created. When there is a recession, they will jobs will be gone. So unemployment will be created. Technological unemployment, as the technology changes, unemployment will be arising. Okay, so new technology may create more job opportunities to the people who are well skilled in that new technology. Non-employment, labor who are employed in household activities or in an unorganized sectors. Such unemployment is called non-employment, means they don't consider it as a employment. Next, we have disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment means what? More people are working than required. If we require only 2 people, but 4 people are working in that particular thing, then that is called as disguised unemployment. And in disguised unemployment, marginal productivity of labor will be 0. Means the extra production, what they are doing is 0. So if we remove them from production also, it will not have impact on our production. Okay, so these are all the different types of unemployment. Very, very easy and very simple answer. Important from exam point of view. Types of unemployment. Just go through the types once. Okay, so these are the different types of unemployment. Now next we will do with, you have different concepts of unemployment. Causes for unemployment. We'll start with the causes of unemployment. Okay, so after the types of unemployment, now we will start with another question, that is causes for unemployment. Now, as we have seen the various types of unemployment, now let us see what are the causes for unemployment here. Okay, various causes are there, like you can see in most of the developing countries especially, we find the problem of unemployment. Though people are ready to work, they are unable to find out the jobs, right? Job opportunities are very less. So, what are the reasons for that? So, the first cause for unemployment is jobless growth. Jobless growth. Why jobless growth? Generally, you observe one point over here. Employment depends upon GDP growth rate of the country. GDP growth rate means what? When the production output is produced in the country, we do more and more output, we create more employment. We need more labor, right? In India, after India got independence, as the GDP is increasing, simultaneously, employment was also increasing. But suddenly, when population increased suddenly, so our GDP means our GDP growth and this jobless people growth has increased. GDP is increasing, but jobless people are also increasing in the country. So that is one reason for our, that is one reason. So you can see here, employment increased at a 2% per annum, whereas GDP rate was as low as 3.5% per annum. Okay. So, whereas GDP growth rate picked up continuously. So, if you see in this, as the GDP is increasing at 3.5% per annum, but employment is increasing at 2% per annum. So later on, our GDP has, there is an GDP increase, but employment growth rate has a sharp fall. So in which the what we can say, the imbalance between the GDP and employment created a jobless growth. Jobless people are increasing, whereas our GDP is increasing, but jobless people are also increasing. So that gap created unemployment in the country. So here we can see GDP is exceeding 9% per annum also, but still we are unable to give the job opportunities. Jobless people are increasing in the country. Next reason, increase in labor force. Increase in labor force. We can see in India, the population is increasing faster here. As the population is increasing, labor force is also increasing in the country. But as the people are increasing, we are unable to create the job opportunities with response to the population growth. Okay. So here, since independence, death rate have declined, right? Death rate have declined and country has entered the second stage of demographic transition where birth rates are high and death rates are low. Birth rates are high and death rates are low. So during this, what happened over here? There is a decline in the death rate and economy has, however, means the economy could not give job opportunities to all the increasing birth rate, and also we can say this created, as the birth rates are increasing, this created disguised unemployment in the country. This created disguised unemployment in the country. So increase in the labor force. In India, we have observed after independence, birth rates are increasing and death rates are declining. So in the economy, we could not create the sufficient jobs to the increasing population. So that resulted in disguised unemployment in the country. Another cause is inappropriate technology. Inappropriate technology, generally, whenever the production is carried on, there are two types of techniques of production. One is labor intensive, other one is capital intensive. Right? Labor intensive means what? Where we use labor. Excess labor are available to us. So we use labor. Labor intensive is used in labor surplus economy. Whereas capital intensive is used in capital surplus economy. In labor intensive, what we do? When there is a shortage of capital, we use labor. When there is a shortage of labor, we use capital. That means technology, machinery, we depend more. In labor surplus economy, there is a scarcity of capital. Whereas in capital surplus economy, there is a scarcity of labor. So, as India is a labor surplus economy, we know in India, capital is very less. Labor intensive techniques we have to follow over here, not only in the industrial sector, but also in agriculture. We should use labor intensive technology of production. But most of the industries, what they have done, they started following capital intensive. Means they used to depend on machinery more than labor. So whoever the labor is available, they could not find the jobs. So this inappropriate technology created unemployment in the country. As we know, India is a labor surplus economy. Okay, so in industries, in agriculture, we should use labor, but most of the industries followed inappropriate technology. They followed capital intensive technology. Capital intensive means they are using machines instead of labor. So by using this capital intensive technology, this unemployment is caused in the country. So this is one reason for our unemployment here. Then another cause for unemployment is inappropriate education system. Inappropriate education system means in India, if you see, the education system, what we are following is the education system which is drafted during the British rule. So during the British rule, whatever the education policies are there, the same old policies we are following, which has failed to create the higher level skilled people in our country. So most of the people in our country, because of lack of these education, means the policy, the education policy what we have in our country, it is not updated or it is not useful for development of our country. So what our government is changing, they are trying to implement the new education system in our country, because most of the economists felt that Indian education system is suitable only for clerk level. But that means they have failed in management position. They are not suitable for management post. Due to that reason also, most of the people could not find the job. As we have seen, educated unemployment is there in a developing economies like India. In our country, we can find developing economy because our education policy is not creating the people who can do the jobs in the management cadre. That is inappropriate education system, which is one of the reason for unemployment in the country. Okay, so that is one more cause for our unemployment here. And another cause for unemployment is neoliberal economic policy. Neoliberal economic policy. With the introduction of neoliberal structural reforms in India since 1990s, neoliberal economic policies means what? Our liberalization, privatization, and globalization. These economic reforms which were introduced from 1990s onwards caused inequalities in the country. When inequalities are there in the country, it results in unemployment. So, the reforms which were introduced in the country during 1990s, which increased income inequalities. So, growing income inequalities has resulted in demand, recession, as well as unemployment. So, that is our neoliberal economic policy. So, just go through this one. What are the causes for unemployment here? Jobless growth. The jobless people means as the GDP increases, employment also should increase. In the beginning, GDP and employment were going hand in hand. But suddenly, unemployment rate has declined, which caused a gap between GDP increase and employment increase. So, that is the reason for, as the jobless people are increasing year by year, the jobless growth is increasing, unemployment is created in the country. Next, increase in the labor force. Labor force means who? Workforce. In India, after 1950, we entered into a second stage of demographics transition, where death rates are declining, birth rates are increasing. As the birth rates are increasing, population is increasing. In our country, we have failed to create employment opportunities to the increased population, which resulted in disguised unemployment in our country. And inappropriate technology, as India is a labor surplus economy, we have to use labor intensive technology of production in our industrial sector, agriculture sector, but because of majority of the industries following westernized model of development, they gave importance for capital intensive technology, where instead of labor, they are using machines, which created unemployment in the country. Inappropriate education system, the education policy which was framed in the country was during the British time. Some changes have done in the policy, but it could not have much impact on our educated people. So the people who are educated could not find the jobs because most of the developed economies, they thought that Indian education system could not produce the skilled manpower which are required for top management positions. So later on, government has brought many changes in our education system, but still unemployment arises in our country because of the backward education policy which was there earlier in our country. Next, neoliberal economic policy, the economic reforms which introduced in our country after 1990s, these could create inequalities in the country. When inequalities are there, what will happen? Rich people will become rich, poor people will become poor. This had demand constraints. Along with that, they have created recession and unemployment was created with this neoliberal economic policy. So these are the various causes for unemployment in the country. So just now we have discussed where types of unemployment, different types of unemployment for 5 marks, and causes for unemployment. This you may get for 5 marks or 10 marks also. 10 marks also they will ask this question. Explain the incidence of unemployment in India. Incidence of unemployment means how unemployment is caused in India. Only 5 points are there. You should explain these 5 points, right? 3 meaningful points for each side heading. That will be enough. Okay. So these are the causes for unemployment here. Now, next we will see what are the measures for poverty and unemployment. Means now we have in India, we are having the problem of poverty and unemployment. We have seen the causes for poverty and unemployment. Now we see what are the measures taken for removal of poverty and unemployment in the country. So just see the measures over here. For poverty and unemployment, the same measures have taken, initiative have taken by the government of India. So what are the measures over here? Resource and income development program. Resource and income development program. So this question may come for 10 marks. Resource and income development program for rural poor, right? In rural areas, for the poor people, resources and income development program means utilizing the local resources and creating employment out of that. So under this, the programs that were introduced are Small Farmer Development Agency. Under this program, you can see here, Small Farmer Development Agency, Marginal Farmer Development Agency, and Integrated Rural Development Program. These are the programs introduced under Resource and Income Development Program for rural poor. Marginal Farmer Agriculture Labor Agency. Right? So, why these programs are introduced over here? To create employment for rural poor. Small Farmers Development Agency. How development of farmers will be done? Whatever the output is produced by the farmers, those will be taken by the government and employment is created to them. Marginal Farmer Agricultural Labor Agency. Support is given to the Marginal Farmer Agricultural Labor and IRDP, Integrated Rural Development Program, to develop the resource and income of the rural people. So these two programs for increasing the income levels of the farmers, and IRDP is a program for rural development. When the rural areas are developed, people can have employment opportunities, means they can have self-employment, and financial support is given by the government. So this is one measure taken for removal of poverty and unemployment. Next, Special Area Development Program. Special Area Development Program. Special Area Development Program, like we have the various areas, right? Drought Prone Area Program, Desert Development Program, Hill Development Program. These all aimed at developing areas with specific purpose. Forestry, dairy development to raise the incomes of the weaker sections of these areas. So we can see Drought Prone Area Program, Drought Prone Area Program, Desert Development Program, Hill Development Program. Means in these areas, how people's income levels will increase? That is through dairy development, forestry development. Through that, the income of these area people will increase, which will reduce poverty and create unemployment in the country. This is another measure taken by the government here. Then next, program for creating supplementary employment. Program for creating supplementary employment. Program for creating supplementary employment. So the third category includes employment generation or National Rural Employment Generation Program, such as National Rural Employment Program, NREP, National Rural Employment Program, Food for Work Program, then Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program. So there they have created, under the programs, created employment for the youth who belong to the rural areas. Supplementary employment is created, and which is helping in poverty eradication in the rural area. And another measure they have taken is minimum needs program. Minimum needs program, where they are providing the food at the subsidized prices. So here we can say, to improve the consumption levels of the poor sections in order to increase their productive efficiency, these minimum needs include education, health, water supply, roads, electrification, housing, nutrition to both rural and urban poor. So we can say here, at subsidized prices, education, health, roads, housing, etc. are provided at subsidized prices to the rural poor. So this helps in eradicating the poverty problem in the country. So these are the various measures what government has taken for poverty eradication and reducing the problem of unemployment in the country. Resource and income development program for rural poor, utilizing the resources and creating increasing the income levels of the people in the rural areas. Special area development program in an area like deserts or hill stations or drought prone areas. Forestry development, dairy development, which will create an income source for the people living in that areas. Program for creating supplementary employment, people who belong to rural areas, the youth who are educated, who are trained and all, they are creating supplementary employment program, under which the various programs were introduced, such as National Rural Employment Program, Food for Work Program, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Program. Right? Next, minimum needs program. Minimum needs. What are the basic needs of the life? Food is the basic need. Food is provided through public distribution system at subsidized prices. Education is essential to increase the skills of the labor. Education is provided at a less price, means facilities are provided and they are making sure that everyone is educated. Health facilities are also provided, because if the labor are healthy, efficiency of labor will increase. Roads, housing, all these are provided to the rural poor. So these are the measures which are taken by the government for removal of poverty and unemployment problem. Okay, so these are the measures you can see here. Okay, so this completes the measures. So with this, how many questions we have discussed? Like in yesterday's class, we have done with how do you reduce income inequalities and causes for poverty. Now we have done with unemployment, types of unemployment, then causes for unemployment and measures for poverty eradication and reducing unemployment problem. So these completes your LAQs and SAQs from third chapter. Okay, now let us discuss with the VSAQs of this chapter. So from this chapter, again, 2 VSAQs you will be getting. So one by one, we will discuss the main important VSAQs only we are discussing here. First one, what is national income? As you have studied in your first year, national income is what? Value of all final goods and services which are produced in a year. Okay, so national income means value of all final goods and services produced in a country in a year. This is called as national income. Okay, you can add one more point here. National income, the volume of commodities and services turned out during a given period without any duplication. Second question you have, per capita income. What is per capita income? Per capita income is the average income of an individual. Average income of an individual. How we calculate average income of an individual? So per capita income is equals to national income by total population, right? So what is per capita income? Average income of an individual in a year. Okay, it will be calculated as national income by total population. Then next you have all these unemployment, like we have discussed earlier, no? What is unemployment? What are the types of unemployment and all? Unemployment means what? People who are unable to find the job opportunities, though they are willing to work at the existing wage rate. That situation is called as unemployment. And in this, you have different types of unemployments here. All the types, any type they may ask for 2 marks over here. And again, the other questions will be after, just go through the types of unemployment for this. Then next you have absolute poverty. What is absolute poverty? I'm not discussing all the types because just now we have discussed. Absolute poverty means what? Whose income or consumption expenditure is not sufficient for minimum subsistence level. Minimum subsistence level or for intake of calories. This is called as absolute poverty. Means when people are called as absolutely poor, when their income or consumption expenditure is not sufficient for minimum subsistence level, or when the income is not sufficient for intake of the required calories. That situation is called absolute poverty. Then next we have relative poverty. What is relative poverty here? The income levels like top 5 to 10% of high income people are compared with bottom 5 to 10% of low income people. That is called as relative poverty. So these are the important questions you have to go through here. Okay, national income, per capita income, absolute poverty, relative poverty. Then you have to go through the types of unemployment. From these only, you will get 2 VSAQs from this chapter. Okay, so here all the types of unemployment also you go through. They also will come for your VSAQ. Types of unemployment, all the types you have to go through here. So this completes your third chapter. Important questions over here. So just go through all the questions what we have discussed in this class. How do you reduce income inequalities? What are the causes for poverty? What are the types of unemployment? What are the causes for unemployment? What are the measures they have taken for unemployment and poverty eradication? And remaining all the VSAQs. So this completes your third chapter, national income, poverty and unemployment. In tomorrow's class, we will start with the new chapter, that is Niti Aayog and all. Just prepare the questions what I have explained in the class. Thank you all.